Oh. I had to hit that. I didn't have my gavel in there. Actually, the meeting's already open, but I didn't throw you out there. But welcome, everybody. What a nice sunny day, and we'll try to get going on this so you can get all your grass cut and everything else you need to do at home. I tried my mower. It didn't work last night. I can't believe that. I guess I won't cut grass this year. Unless I get it fixed. Anyways, what do we got there, Bill? Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Anderson. The minutes of the April 24th, 2018 council may be approved. All in favor? Oh, yes. No, is there any peculiar interest? Oh, okay, good. We already did it for the closed. Peculiarity or whatever. Conflict. I'm in conflict all the time.
A couple of peculiar ones.
Yeah, they've got a couple of peculiar ones here. Other businesses is closed. I have one.
Yep, I have one too.
Okay, anybody else? Good. Good. No public. Yeah. Moved by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The Town of Minto Council convenes at a committee of the whole. All in favor? That's mine. Don't be touching her. Yeah, it's off. Everybody's phones are off, I hope. Like, what's David doing with his there?
One date, sir.
Okay.
That should be $10
next year. We have no public meetings, but we have two delegations, which I'm really excited about. And the first one is finally the golf course is open. I was a little worried it never opened in time for the mayor's tournament in August, but we did finally start getting some summer weather, and unfortunately we did get a little bit of a wind there the other day and blew some trees down. And I know they had a bunch of volunteers out at Pike Lake picking up. They couldn't cut the grass until they get all the limbs off the thing, so they did that yesterday morning, and we're just happy that nobody was hurt. There was a few in other places that were hurt, and we were pretty lucky. I know, talking to Ralph in front of Micklejohn up by where you are, Dave, that big tree went down, and just about the time the kids were walking the other side of the road going home from school, and that crashed down on that side, but nobody was over there, thank goodness. But oh, now you want to be added to the list.
Yeah, I forgot about something.
Judy as well. Judy as well, please.
All right. Anyways, so I would have our golf tournament groups always come and they present what they're going to do with their groups and their money. So maybe we'll get Gabby to come up and talk about the youth first. I'm really excited about the 3 groups this year. No problem. Gabby's working. She's got that almost. She's down to one.
Have that youth been too hard on you?
Down to one crutch. She's doing pretty good.
Wow, you don't even need that crutch.
Tell that to physio.
I think it's just a crutch.
Just physio.
I know people are nice to me with it, so I'll just keep it around.
Good point.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor George and Council, and everyone else is here. North for Youth is very grateful for the opportunity to be a recipient for the Mayor's Golf Tournament this year. I have actually never witnessed a golf game in my life, so this will be exciting. I'm like, okay, I got to learn the lingo and the outfit and all that kind of stuff, so I'll figure that out.
Some of our foursomes, it's not too good. So just,
okay.
We'll teach you.
Okay, good. I'm ready to learn.
Some of the lingo you want to hear.
Oh.
Don't let them teach you.
Okay. I'll just YouTube it, figure it out.
No, you're fine.
So anyway, so as you all know, my name's Gabby, and I'm the Community Youth Resiliency Worker. So I work on behalf of North for Youth, which is basically a collaborative group of service providers, community members, and municipal staff throughout Northern Wellington who are really invested in positive youth engagement and development. We work with youth basically from the age of 12 to 24 in trying to better understand their needs, their interests, the challenges they have, their desires for their community, and really help them to figure out their goals and their dreams and make them into a reality. So as the youth resiliency worker, I work on behalf of about 24 different youth service serving organizations as well as lots of businesses and nonprofits that are just really looking to better connect with our youth. So what we do, I won't bore you since I was here a couple months ago and gave you a big spiel on what it is that we do, but for anyone that doesn't really know a lot about us, we support our 3 local youth action councils, so one in Minto, Wellington North, and Mapleton. We also work very closely with our alternative education classes with their Truth About Youth program, so really trying to get those youth out in the community, developing skills, being involved in community betterment projects, which really helps them to gain confidence and understand their skill set and graduate, which is a huge success. We also facilitate a number of different skill development opportunities for both youth and adult allies who are interested in working with youth. Last year we held the Connecting with Youth the Rural Way workshop here in Minto, and we were the first to sell out across Ontario, so that was pretty exciting. So we're going to do that again this year. And why we apply for the proceeds of this tournament. So we're kind of going to use the proceeds in a couple of different ways, one of which is to try and continue this position. As you all know, we had received Trillium funding that ended, but now we're working with the municipalities and the family health team to keep it going, which is awesome. We have a few different new projects on the go. We're really looking at a lot of experiential learning experiences for our youth. So whether that be through volunteering or co-op, just helping them to better understand what opportunities are available in the community, what's here, so that if they decide to leave for post-secondary or travel or whatever, they know that they can come back and what they're coming back to. So a lot about that. As well as working with specific populations of youth that I haven't been able to tap into as much just yet. So some especially would be youth with disabilities, some with like young parents and things like that. The one with disabilities I think would be important, just as Minto, we did win the Youth Friendly Community for 2018. We won gold, which is very exciting, and we met 9 of the 10 criteria. So I really want to work on that last one so we can get platinum, and that was all about access and inclusion. So I'm working with different partners to see how we can better be more inclusive and accessible to all different youth. And I think that's everything.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
And the youth are excited about working at the tournament. We've had some conversations.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes, they are. You can put them all to work.
I know. They're looking forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Minto Dance Academy and Belinda.
Put my dance mom hat on. Alrighty. So, on behalf of the Minto Dance Academy, thank you for selecting us to partake in the Mayor's Golf Tournament. I've had the privilege of being there every year, this year in a different capacity. I'm sure most of you know the Minto Dance Academy operates out of the Town Hall Theatre, which is a town-operated building. We currently have 104 dancers in the Dance Academy taking 33 classes. And this is all run by volunteers, which is quite remarkable. Many communities don't have this, so we're pretty proud of it. We offer affordable recreational dance programming in an environment that fosters learning and enjoyment. What we are using the funding for is to make improvements to the studio space. We need new carpet in our waiting room area. It's kind of grungy right now. And we also need to stain and refinish the floor. And next year is a recital year. So that is always a big year with multiple expenses, and this will help out our families and make dance affordable. So thank you once again for selecting us.
And we have David here. And John, yeah, David and John both for the Canada Packers reunion. David's a veteran, John, but I think you've been out to the tournament a few times too. No, you haven't. No, maybe I was thinking the tournament you run. You run one, don't you?
No, Dave does.
Oh, Dave does that one. Maybe that's where I thought it was.
Used to.
Are you out of that one now, Dave?
No,
No, no.
but I don't run it anymore.
You don't run it. Thanks for coming. And this is Canada Packers, and what a great year we're going to have.
Yes. Yeah. How many years did you work there, Dave? Canada Packers.
13. I was very lucky.
And you worked there one summer?
Two
Just
summers, I think.
summers.
2 summers.
They wouldn't hire me. Jim worked there though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Didn't hire me
You were
either.
still
I
vet
applied when I
behind
was in
me.
my
You're-
teens, but
That's why they wouldn't hire you.
Yeah. Well, that could be. That could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Anyways, thank you for inviting John and I here today. We are representing the Canada Packers Union 2018 committee. Group was formed early last year. Consists of former employees of Canada Packers when there was a plant in Harrison which closed in 1992. Over the many years that the plant was operating, it was the main employer in the town, and many locals worked there, either full-time or part-time in the summer rush, when the number of staff would double to meet the demands for the ice cream products. There are also representatives on our group from the Harrison Kinsmen, the Harrison Legion, the Downtown Revitalization Committee, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Savor event. And that's because we're working with those groups in cooperation with our committee. So the goal of the committee is to invite as many former employees back to the town to celebrate the good times that were and had while working here and to see old friends. There will also be other, probably people from other parts of Canada Packers that have shown interest in coming, like from the plants in Toronto and Walkerton and Mount Forest. So they're all involved. We are working with many local groups that are involved with the Downtown Street Party. It is our goal to try and bring more people to Harrison to gather and to support local businesses, and to help the Kinsmen by attending their barbecue, the Harrison Legion by supporting their breakfast, and that they will be hosting on the Saturday morning, and they're going to act as a hub for us in the afternoon as well. We will also be working with the Savor Committee to make their pork barbecue a great success, along with the street dance, by bringing more people to town. As well, the Harrison Historical Society will be displaying memorabilia from Canada Packers, and we'll be offering a lunchtime barbecue and Sunday morning breakfast, which they're selling in order to try and raise funds. Most of the events that are planned are being run by the other organizations, so that they are getting most of the benefit of the funds that are raised. That is why we have approached the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament to be included as a beneficiary in the tournament. That's mostly because we're, like I say, most of our funds that we're going to be spending is going to be on promotion and trying to get people here. So any funds that we generate over and above our promotional costs are going to be donated locally. Our plan is to support the Kinsmen Club, who have a project to make improvements to the Harrison Pool, and the Harrison Historical Society, who are raising funds to offset their rent that they pay every year now. Anyway, thank you very much, and if you have any questions, John's going to answer them.
And I hear you're going to try to get a few teams to come early for the Mayor's Golf Tournament.
That's
That's
true.
the plan, and sort of that's kind of a good kickoff.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple that have signed up.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, it's great, and anytime we can look back in our history. And how long, David, you were there for 20-some years?
No, 13.
Just 13 too?
John was there 18.
Okay. 18.
Yeah. Big.
No,
It was still open. Would you guys both be working?
God, I hope not.
Did Jim Harkness hire you guys as well?
Hired me.
Yeah, hired me.
No, he left just around the time that I was starting. Yeah. I started in 71, I think.
Look for the ice cream cones out there too. That downtown's doing. So it looks
Yes,
good.
they'll be good.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Thanks
Thanks.
Thank
Dave.
you.
And now, next up, we have the Walter and Ron show. And I noticed, Walter, I have you first. Notice that? Sure. You're first because, you took most of the load there. Well, you got to look after him, right? This is the last time he's going to talk about the plowing match, I think.
I've heard that before.
We're not done yet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On my way over, I kept having this song come through my mind, My Ding-a-Ling. And I couldn't remember who sang it. And fortunately, there was an older guy in the crowd, the Gord Duff, that knew it was Chuck Berry that sang that
Chuck Berry,
song.
yeah. I would have known that.
Yeah.
I'm young.
Anyway, Ron's going to get into the details about the significance of the bell. What I wanted to make a acknowledgement. Part of the significance of the bell is to recognize the contribution of your town staff. They served on both the executive, they served on the committees, they did a lion's share of the work. They did their work 100% here, and when they got home, they did 100% for us. So they contribute greatly to the significance of our plowing match. And the other person I have to remember is my friend Ron. He's your deputy mayor, I know, but he did a lion's share of the work. He did a really good job. He was great to work with. I thought I'd never say that, but he was, and we actually became quite good friends over this. So it was a good experience, and I know we both enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Walter.
Huh?
Thank you, sir.
Before we present the bell, I have a couple things to say here. The ringing of a bell is symbolic of either an event that is about to happen or a statement of a reminder of an event that has happened. IPM 2016 took a whole community to achieve its goal. The executive of IPM 2016 sincerely wish this bell will remind our great citizens of what can be accomplished with good partnership, respect for each other's opinions, and tolerance for one another. Thank you, Town of Minto, and please accept this bell to remind us of the importance of tolerance, respect, and partnership. And may the town always provide the leadership and incentive for future events. Walter and I stand here to say thank you for a great partnership. And so I'd like to call the mayor and our CAO White down to accept this bell because, first of all, both of you played a significant role in the event, and especially CAO White was tenant city chair, and that's a humongous task. So please, the two of you come down, and we'd love to present this bell to you. Yeah. This little history on the bell. This was made by an Amish fellow up at Holyrood, and he's one of the few guys that still has a cast for a brass bell. You got to go up and lift this thing. We think we're going to put it right back in the center where those, but the plaque says presented by the executive of IPM 2016 to the town of Minto in appreciation of a great partnership. So, Mayor Brad CO White, and can we, you guys stand together in the center. And, oh my God, like the standing cup, you want to drop it. Wouldn't that have been the digger?
I don't know. That's going to be a problem.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I got to get a little.
Somebody go.
Okay, man.
That's true. He's very shy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is kind of going harder here.
Oh, that's right.
If I could just add, the person that made that bell is the same person who made the bell that we sold at the auction. And at the International Climate, we got $5,000 for it.
The auction, that's
And
right.
that was all gone back.
And the other thing, we're also going to give a bell to the county of Wellington because they were equally as good, not as equal. They were pretty good. They were good. Thank you, folks.
Hope that glass holds on.
It will.
We'll find out. All right. You guys barely get the bell to work.
Wow. Another thing to make noise.
So instead of the gavel, I'm going to do that every time we open a council meeting now.
Thank you, Walter.
Walter, before you leave, I just want to say both you and Ron did such an excellent job. I know it was tough. I mean, I was involved in a lot of the negotiations back and forth and the different things that come up on a big event like that. I mean, but you know, at the time, I think everybody was pretty happy when it was over. But you can't believe the economic value that came. The people that came to our community, that know our community now, you just can't buy that type of advertising. And what a great job, both you and pass that on. I know you had passed that on to your crew. And I think one point you made was a lot of people thought the town employees were out there on town time. They were on their own time, and majority of it. I mean, there were some things we did because we were fixing roads and stuff, but the majority of the time was their volunteer time, and I know people on the council did as well. So it only comes with all those volunteers, and hard to keep all volunteers going. A good friend of mine said one time, you know, pretty hard to fire a volunteer. I mean, they might not do the job exactly the way you want it because they've only got so much time in their life, but they're volunteering. That's the good news. And we always said it's a lot easier to deal with staff when you actually have than volunteers when you have to deal with volunteers. And they give you what they can, but our volunteers did a great job. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
And take the rest of the day off, Walter. Eh?
I'll tell Miss Wynn that. And she's banned.
Oh, good. Well, you think that's better than the gavel if I ring that bell?
Oh, that's great. I won't think it's a gunshot. I'm not sure what I think it will be.
I don't.
Stampede of cattle.
Well, you'll think you got to get into the school classroom, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't go to one room school.
I was going to say we didn't have a bell like that. We had a handheld.
Public question period? No. Okay. Correspondence received. Any correspondence we want to pull out?
Mayor Bridge 11C, it should be wolf trapping.
Not happening. I wondered about that.
Yes, that's right.
There might be a wolf app.
There is a wolf happening.
Yeah.
Mayor Bridge, I'm wondering if we should support the township of Southgate. I know we do have some landfill developments. Am I reading that right? They're looking for support.
Well, ours is all county run now, but
Yeah, okay. But I'm saying, do we need to support these people?
grant municipalities the right to approve landfill development. Your thoughts? I mean, I don't think there's been a landfill approved in the last 25 years in Ontario. And I don't know whether.
And the difficulty is, like, the tremendous amounts of hoops you have to jump through to get one. And Wellington's tried for how long and been turned down every time. My dad was on county council, and I think he might have been the warden that year. I was living in Alma, and they were trying to put a dump in around Alma. And I had to go to a public meeting, and he came for supper, and I had to actually let him go to the meeting on his own because I didn't want to be seen with him because I had a plaque. But it's very difficult. And I don't know what Southgate, are they looking to replace theirs, I guess, I assume?
No. I don't think so. I think
If
we
you
just
don't
want to
think we
make
need
sure.
to, I'm okay with not bringing it up.
I just don't. It's not really. I think county should be looking at it.
Yeah.
We don't have them anymore. What do you think, Bill?
Mayor Bridge, if I may, the resolution is on the next page of the Southgate letter.
Yeah.
And without reading that act, I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to do here. If it's improving or reducing the bureaucracy to get landfill sites approved, that's probably in our best interest over time.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, it's become nearly impossible, from what I understand, to do that. But on the other hand, it's really not in our wheelhouse right now. But from a county perspective, perhaps, I don't know whether this letter went to them or not.
Could we pass it on to them?
We can pass it on to the county. You want me to just pass it on to the county?
That'd be good.
And they can bring it up at solid waste.
We're really talking about private landfill
Well,
operators, so
they're
it's
just
a little bit
talking
different
about
too.
supporting the bill,
Mhm.
Bill 16.
They want some say.
I don't know enough about it. I guess I should look into it a bit more because it hasn't been we haven't been the ones that have to do it. So
I'll leave it in your hands.
Mayor Bridge, if we had a motion to receive the correspondence and we'll forward that one on to the county, if they have anything to say to us, we can bring it back.
did you move by David that we move it? Seconded by Jean. All in favor? All right. So that's all the correspondence, or
Mhm.
we've done it? Okay. Reports of committees, farmers market, recreation.
I could report on the farmers market if you want.
We don't have, yeah, that's the first one, right? Go ahead.
Yes. This is the report of the meeting from early April. There was a market wrap-up, chatted a little bit about the 2017 season when we started. A couple of successful trivia nights again, although one was quite stormy weather, so that certainly cut into how well that went. You can see the vendor, we discussed the vendor handbook and the application process and so on. And then there's also some promo items included in your package there to have a look at. We're always looking for more vendors, so if you are one or know of one, please call Taylor at the office. There's also a list of special events included in your package. So invite everybody to come out to the Minto Farmers Market in Palmerston on Saturday morning starting on June the 2nd.
Quick question. How much does it cost for a vendor?
There's a weekly rate and there's a yearly rate. And I don't know whether that's included in here, so I better not say what it is. But is it 10?
It's $10 a week,
Okay.
or I believe the market season's 13 weeks. So if you do a full season, it's $100. So you have a bit of a savings if you do the full season.
Reasonable.
It's quite reasonable. Yes.
Oh, and just thanks, Judy, for being there at that meeting. They do a great job.
It's a busy spot. It's a busy spot, yeah.
And it certainly has got better every year.
Yeah, and we do some partnering with the Railway Museum right there as well, and we'll be there the day of the handcar races and so on. So there's some working together on those items, which works really well. Always works better if you work with somebody.
That's right. So the motion is the council receives the Minto Farmers Market minutes of April 6, 2018, Economic Development Planning Committee minutes of April 19, 2018, and the Culture Roundtable. Oh, I guess I should.
Do one at a time.
I'll let you do. So the Farmers Market one, everybody for favor that. I could have done it at the end maybe.
Which hat do you got on?
This time on.
She's Economic Development.
She's dancing to the mic.
I'll do them all at the end. I'll just do them all together.
Yep,
How's
that's
that
cool.
sound?
Yeah, sure.
There's a new thing I'm trying here.
Okay.
This week I haven't been reading them out, and people don't understand it. And they hear it, they wonder what the heck we just voted on. So we're trying to read them out so people know what the heck we voted on.
Oh, okay. Very good then. All right. So these are the minutes from April 19th, and this was a very good meeting with our Economic Development Committee. Most majority of them are with this group. But this one was lots of good stuff to talk about, and I want to highlight some of the things. One of those is the Employer One survey results. We had great participation from Minto employers. We had 31 businesses complete this, and the Employer One survey is across like the southwestern region, and we were one of the best response rates for the size of our community. So some really interesting information that came out of that. And Carol came to us with this idea that we should do an event where we have resources available for our employers. Well, we were already planning that type of event, so it kind of worked out. We hosted the Show Me the Workers event at the end of April, and we had great representation from the colleges, universities, service club providers, but service providers like a Gillette, Second Chance, you name it, they were all there, the Career Education Council. We had about 25 employers attend, and those that attended went away with a full package full of information. And we said if we missed anything, please come up after and ask, and not one person came up asking for additional information. So I think we're very pleased with how that went. The Workforce Planning Board helped sponsor it, and they're looking to partner with us again now in the fall to host something. So that was very successful. A big part of what we're doing this year is looking at residential attraction. And so we talked a lot about these types of things at the last meeting. And funny, it all has blended into the Downtown Revite minutes of this past month too. So some of the things that we are doing, May 29th, we're partnering with Mapleton, and we're doing a special graduating class barbecue. So the mayors from Mapleton and Minto will be there bringing special greetings to the students that are graduating. The Lions have agreed to help us with barbecuing, so thank you, Ron and the Lions. And the Green Legacy program is giving us 130 saplings to present to those graduating class, and we have a nice little tag that will go on it with a symbolic message. And also 2 students will then go up and plant an oak tree at the Lions Park, and then we'll do up a plaque that'll go in the school with a picture of the graduating class and the tree and everything. So it's kind of like the whole like plant your roots but spread your wings kind of a thing, and know that you're always planted here. So we're excited to have been pulling that together fairly quickly, working with Norwell. So I wanted to highlight that. And thank you to those that attended the Community Achievement Awards. Always a great night recognizing our wonderful businesses and key people in our community. Another exciting thing is the Hawk's Nest. So that is coming up June 13th. And while we were at this meeting, I was discussing that there are 7 finalists that have been chosen. I can't tell you who the 7 are, but I can tell you that 2 of them are from Minto. So they will be up pitching to the Hawks, which one of the Hawks is Joel Coops from MSW Plastics. So it'd be great if we can have a great contingent there cheering on our Minto businesses. And for that reason, we upped our sponsorship level, or we're making the recommendation to sponsor at the corporate level to really show our commitment to entrepreneurship, small businesses, and those that are participating. They have 2 other businesses that are kind of like in the background, is like if somebody drops out, and those 2 are also from Minto. So we have extremely good representation. We're very proud of those businesses that are participating. So come find out who they are and cheer them on. Also want to highlight the reports. The facade grant recommendation was made in Palmerston Revite meeting to give Sumit Gill, who has the property on Norman Street, $6,000 to complete the work on his building, and that includes the awnings. So if you remember, he did the stucco work, and this portion is for the awnings. And then the second grant that we're recommending is for Sean Wells' building on William Street in Palmerston. This is a significant undertaking, this project. He has basically gutted the whole building and building it from scratch and using a lot of his own manpower, so it's his blood, sweat, and tears in it. It has a huge return on investment for us, and Terry and I were scored this the highest application out of them all, including the Old Post, for the amount of work that's needing to be done. So both the downtown committees and economic development committee made these recommendations to move forward with those. And I think that's all I wanted to highlight.
Are you doing cultural roundtable?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for the economic development first?
Just a comment. I think how good that building at the corner, the stuccoed building at the corner of William and Main Street looks. It just sets that whole block off.
Yeah, the structural grant program has really made an impact in seeing some of those buildings that we've struggled with move forward. And that one, there is some stucco peeling off that people have pointed out. The owner is aware of it, and the people are coming back to repair it. So just if anyone.
The one issue talking about just behind that one, where we're across from the food land.
You bet.
It's again one that really needs a lot of work, and
the old bakery.
Yeah, that's just going to be amazing.
Yeah. So that's exciting. For Culture Roundtable, the highlights of that, the group spent quite a while at the last meeting planning and preparing for Culture Days, which happens the last weekend in September. So you can see there some of their ideas. Also noting that the Cool Cones Public Art Project, the unveiling is going to be June 2nd at 10 a.m. At the library. We are going to be working with the Canada Packers team to have ice cream, Mapleton's ice cream, at the Garden Festival, where we'll be giving out free samples and our brochures that will highlight the cones and encourage people to come down and check those out throughout the summer. We'll have special a vote for your favorite cone running all summer, and the winner will be announced at the street party at the dance on August the 12th. So you'll have to come down for that. Also wanted to mention that Gord and the Spark team that are on our Culture Roundtable working with Spark are busy planning their October summit that will be hosted in Minto. And I think that was all I wanted to say about that.
Just the mayor's breakfasts are over, and thanks very much for all your
Yes, it is.
help on that. And even the Real Spoon went really well because he actually closed down for that morning, and we were able to get 35 in there.
We had 36 people in Palmerston, 38 in Harriston, and 29 in Clifford. So very good attendance to all three mayor's breakfasts.
And has all the council seen the actual presentations that you did, or are they online?
We can post them online.
If you want we should post them online.
Well,
because
I think you should.
There was a lot of good information in there. If you happen to not been able to make a breakfast, I think most everybody did, but just having them post on there, because I was surprised everybody took them with them. And we got feedback that some of the folks from Clifford went to the Palmerston presentation because they wanted to know what was going on in the other communities too. So they thought that we should have one big breakfast where we highlight all three of the communities. Or urban communities, to be more clear. So I thought that was interesting. We have tried that before, and the attendance wasn't as well. I think people like to have it in each of their communities, but perhaps next time talking about each of the communities, like all three communities at each session, and then that way everyone hears about it. But
is it possible to just put that on a council agenda to have the presentations done?
We could.
Yeah. Because then we would reach.
Because we would scroll through it a lot faster.
Of course. About half of it is generic.
Sure, some of it's repetitive.
It's a total, and then there's a few individual. But yeah, right. There's some that are just what happened in Clifford and what happened last year, and in Harriston and how it happened in Palmerston. So there is some.
Yeah, we could take it all into one slideshow.
That'd be good. Maybe
add
another.
You could even add a couple pages for the township and what construction is going to
happen
there.
There's some stuff happening in the township as well.
Yep. Okay.
That made good sense. Maybe we'll do that. No. Thank you. And I will just, now I think I can do this whole thing. The council receives the Minto Farmers Market minutes of April 6, 2018, the Economic Development Planning Committee minutes of April 19, 2018, and the Cultural Roundtable minutes of April 23, 2018, and approves any recommendations contained within. And that's moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councillor Turton. All in favor? Am I supposed to write this in now? Or are you getting it? No, I got it. Okay. a lot of new rules.
Because I can read his right.
Oh, I know. I just wrote it in there. What do you do? And now we have Matt right up there already.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. So I'll be quick. Last month, you may recall when we presented the PRAC minutes, we talked about introducing a couple of new rates and modifying one other set of rates in under Schedule D in recreation. So this report just kind of brings all that to fruition. We advertised in the paper. We posted the notice on our website. Just quickly recapping, we'd like to introduce an advertising on our Olympia rate of $1,000 per year, and the sponsor will be responsible for getting that ad done up, whether it's a wrap or a decal. The second is an outdoor fitness rate. Should an instructor want to book, say, an 8-week program and have the pavilion as a backup, we would block that off, and the rate would be $15 an hour. And then finally, just streamlining day camp rates. Kind of something we learned while we were doing the March break programming and using Keystone exclusively was that streamlining them is going to make things a lot easier for parents, but also it'll make it easier on our end when it comes to data entry and whatnot. So. Just good
questions from that. More of a like administrative.
Housekeeping. Yep.
Okay. And then council moved by Judy, second by Judy. All the council receives recreation services managers May 3rd, 2018 report regarding revised and new recreation rates, and the council considers modifying Schedule D of the bylaw number 21810 in a regular session. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay. And Bill, you got the Galaxy Construction Group.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Last year we had planning applications come forward on Laura Street in Harrison near Lorne Street. That property fronts on the new construction area, which is now getting close to 3 years old. And at the time there was some concern from council about cutting into that work. We did get authority from council to, or from the committee to cut into the Laura Street to service this project. We did pre-service it and made sure there was water and sewer to the lot. But as you can see from the drawing, the developer is proposing 4 semi-detached dwelling units, 2 buildings in total. So in order to get those connections in, we worked with the county and with Triton Engineering to get a design that can see it done in a comprehensive way, and that the road would be restored in a way that it's going to last and not be a problem in the future. So we've put forward the servicing agreement, which they have signed, and there's a bylaw later on for you to consider. Basically, the owner is responsible for any further Planning Act applications to come on that development. But they have seen the engineered drawing, and that they have approved the connections that are outlined in that drawing. They've provided us $10,000 as a deposit, and that will allow us to go to tender on the work. It will be a town contractor doing that work, and we will supervise that contractor to make sure it's done properly. And when we go to tender, there will be a decision point for Galaxy Construction to make sure that that tender is something that they're prepared to live with. The top cost we're seeing, including engineering and contingency, is about $76,000 to do that. So before we go ahead with that work, they will pay the balance of that, and we will pay our contractor using those funds. This is one way of connecting to sewer and water services in the town. There's lots of different ways it's been done over time. And we're going to come back with a policy next meeting for you to consider that would standardize it. I'm not sure you always want to do it this way, but it's a high-profile road with the county work on it and so forth. We wanted recommending doing it this fashion, but the policy will allow for us to do it in an agreement form like this or other ways on roads that aren't quite as busy and significant as this one. So our recommendation is that council receive the report regarding the Galaxy site servicing agreement on Laura Street and considers a bylaw in open session authorizing the mayor and I to sign the requested servicing agreement.
You hear a second? Don? Dave? All in favor? I think it's just the good density thing. Before we were only going to end up with one unit, like a duplex. So we're getting another duplex, and we certainly need that type of housing. So, the council receives the report of Galaxy Construction Group Limited Site Servicing Agreement, Laura Street, Harrison, and considers the bylaw in open session authorizing the mayor and the CEO clerk to sign the requested service agreement. All in favor? And Bill's up again.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Attached to my report is a draft site plan agreement with Quality Developments, Inc. And a bylaw for you to consider authorizing the mayor and I to sign that agreement. Back March 6th, we had reported to you on land transfers that were to occur. And before giving notices on March 20th, you passed a bylaw authorizing the mayor and I to sign those transactions. And those land transactions are now complete. So Quality Homes, now Quality Developments, Inc. has ownership of the entire parcel, including a small piece of town land that was added to the project. But before that all occurred, and you had given conditional site plan approval during Quality's due diligence period for 23 units, and then there were 7 conditions. In the report, I took those 7 conditions and referred you to sections of the development agreement that address those. So, for example, Schedule C, Sections 1, 2, and 19 deal with the 3-year completion date, the 20,000 security, and the requirement for a condominium agreement. This will be a condominium development, so what will happen is they will begin, assuming that the agreement is signed and all other applicable laws met and the building official is able to issue a permit, they will begin construction on the units and then apply for a condominium approval through the county at a later date. And so under that, we will sign an agreement with the condominium corporation that details our relationship with them. Until that time, the site plan agreement is our relationship with the owner of the lands. And it stipulates all the things that they'll have to do. And there are a number of them, given the feedback we've had on this development over the last 2 years. So each of those requirements under the middle part of that report are referred to specific sections of the agreement. And you can follow through those if you wish. And I can answer questions on those conditions. And down below that chart, there's a few point form discussion points on each of the 7 conditions. But suffice it to say that the site plan agreement that we're recommending to you today does address the conditions that were in the council approval. Under the comments section, I'm referring you to a letter that we received December 19th from one of the neighbors, and those concerns were expressed at that time about these units being 1 story, that there be on-site parking, that the property meet all the required side yards, that common amenity space and garbage storage be addressed. So in the report, we've outlined how each of these concerns has been addressed by the development. One of the ones regarding the height of the units or the number of stories. You recall Mr. Scher, when he was here, spoke about bungalows and bungalows. And on the last page of the report, there is a section that shows you the main floor at the top, the upper floor where in the 2 internal units you'll see the loft area, and then the elevation or the front of the building. And essentially this looks and will function as a 1-story building. 2 of the interior units will have the loft section, but that's less than 40% of the floor space, and therefore the architect has designed them to comply with the town zoning bylaw. Regarding parking, there was a concern that not enough parking would be provided. Parking in these instances will be in the extra wide garage area, so it's actually 4.2 meters, which is 16 feet almost, 14 feet. And so those will be nice wide garages. There will be parking on the 20 feet or 6 meters in front of that. And then also the developer will be offering those who wish to expand the hard surface in front of their unit the opportunity to do that. And so some residents may have 3 parking spaces in total, including the one in the garage. So we are confident that the parking is complied with under the bylaw by the site plan. And in fact can be exceeded. So there will be no parking allowed on the street, and the site plan, that street, as council will recall, will be a private street. So that is not maintained by the municipality. That will be maintained by the condo corporation. But the site plan agreement states that there is no parking permitted on that street, and they're required to post signage to that effect. So all the parking will occur on the owners, in front of the owner's unit or in their garage.
Parking. So if they have no parking and it's a private, people park on the street, what's the consequence to
it? It could be enforceable through the town. Leave it at that. It has to do with the fire route and access and so forth, and the building code. So we will be relying on the condo corporation to enforce it, but if need be, the town will be able to step in.
Through you, Mayor Bridge, it bothered me at the start, but I didn't make a lot of noise about it, and I wish I had have. But that agreement that we had to make at the end of that private street, is there, CO White, is there flexibility on the design of that? Because we weren't allowed to put a cul-de-sac in there, and it was because of the agreement with the people on George Street. So, but is there flexibility to put like stakes there and allow that to be a turnaround at the end?
Well, right now the turnaround is on our town-owned property. It's called the Hammerhead.
Correct.
Under the site plan agreement, it says that is to be only for emergency service vehicle turnaround. If we want to change that to something different, Because that's in the minutes of settlement, we would need sign off from those neighbors.
Oh, is that right?
So
Okay.
right now,
That's not gonna happen.
right now the fire chief is the one who will decide what kind of gate goes up at that location. So it's in
That's too bad.
So I think it can function just fine in this fashion. It may be once the development is up and functioning and everybody's used to the project, if council at the time wants to talk about using that for something else, then they can approach those neighbors. But right now the site plan agreement says it's for emergency vehicle turnaround only, and there will be a gate that the fire chief would have to approve. And what that hammerhead will look like grass, it will function like as part of the park, it will be cut, but it will be for emergency vehicle turnaround only.
David?
The road, no parking on the road. The width of the road, it is wide enough. If somebody does park on the road and the fire service needs to get in, lots of room for passing for a fire truck versus a vehicle. But I'm asking that. I can't find where it's some of the
width of the road.
The width of the road, yeah.
It's, this road is a private road, but I mean it depends on how they park, but it should be wide enough for that to happen if they parked off to the side illegally. But
is there a standard width that it has to be?
The road is at a width acceptable to our engineering department and our building department. Okay. And the width is shown on the drawing, and that's what they have to build.
I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't find
It's 18.3 meters.
18.3.
Oh, that's
meters.
Well, that's between the.
No, that's
it's basically.
no,
it's basically.
no.
It's over 20 feet in width. Okay.
Oh,
good.
what is that?
That should be fine.
That goes.
Well, that's.
Well, that's from there to there.
Car meeting
Right.
the car.
Okay.
I mean, we can't stop the,
Maybe it's
we
just
can
6
stop the people from parking on the street if we make them, but you know as well as I do, people don't know the rules. There could be a no parking on the street sign. People drive in there and they're visiting. I'm just going to be here for a minute, and all of a sudden. So I'm glad that that road's that wide.
Well, and I think, David, because it's going to be a condo corporation, that gives you some levity, some ability to go back to them because they're going to be against their own corporation. Where if it was individual housing, yeah, then you'd have a neighbor against neighbor. But like if we go back to the corporation and they say, remind everybody they can't park there and there'll be tickets issued. I mean, it's no different than what we see in some of our roads are narrow or streets and we have to put no parking on one side because we can't get fire equipment down if they park on both sides. So it's like anything else. People will either listen or not listen and they'll have to be treated accordingly.
Regarding the building setbacks, that was another concern, if I may, Mayor Bridge, and now that the land transfers have all been completed, we are confident that the building location will meet the zoning rules. There was also some discussion about common amenity space. There's more than ample outdoor living space on this development for the residents of this, including the park next door. As far as that particular zoning requirement, it doesn't apply in this case. It's a regulation that applies to apartment units in an R3 zone. This is an R226 zone. But even if it did apply, which we do not believe it does, and the county planners have confirmed that, there would be enough outdoor amenity space on this property to comply with it. Garbage storage is something that the developer is still working on. We have looked at the systems comparable to what they did at the housing project in Palmerston with the underground system, and they're still looking at that. They've also talked about whether the condominium corporation will just have a service to pick it up from their own homes, so they would conduct that service on their own. But either way, if they go to the underground system, they would need to provide those details to us. And if they go with the other type of system, then they'll need to comply with the county rules. So for handling of waste and recyclables. So we're confident that the site plan complies with the zoning bylaw and the minutes of settlement. The site plan agreement protects the town's interests and the terms of those two documents and will provide for a good functional development that will be a real benefit. I would like to point out that quality deciding to go with basements for this, it will look a little different than slab on grade buildings that were proposed by the previous developer, but it's still in compliance with all those terms that I previously mentioned. So the next step for this, if the council agrees to pass a bylaw, the Quality Homes will sign the site plan agreement, the town will sign the site plan agreement, and then the chief building official needs all the submissions from the developer to issue building permits, and it's really entirely up to the chief building official whether applicable law has been met or not. So we're recommending that you receive my report regarding execution of the site plan agreement with Quality Developments Inc., and that you consider a bylaw authorizing the mayor and I to sign that agreement in regular session.
Second.
I have a couple more questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I live in that area now, and I've been over there. I've looked at it, and I know that the questions I'm going to ask before, and I've got a bunch of new neighbors, and I think they're beautiful. I think that fourplex is really nice looking house or condo. I just need clarification on a couple things, and that's the pond. And I know I just want to go on record that it's a wet pond. We're not going to have big tall trees and grass growing in the pond. It's going to be manicured, it's going to be trimmed, and the town's going to do that.
It's our park.
If I may, Mayor Bridge, through you, the site plan agreement provides for Quality Homes completing that pond. It is to a near state of completion now. There's some topsoil and final grading to go on it, and it needs to be seeded. And of course they have to install the hammerhead as well, which will allow grass to grow through there. And it is on town property. It will be maintained by the town, so we will be cutting grass. And the design is such that there will be times when there's no water in it, and there will be times when there is water in it, but it should not overgrow, and we will be maintaining it appropriately. So it will depend on how much rain we have.
Sure.
But that is a town-owned property. It's still over an acre in size, which was what was promised to those residents back in 2013 when we first started this. And the amount of land that we ended up conveying to this development is less than what was provided for in the minutes of settlement. So the site plan agreement also provides for, and Mr. Scher has agreed that, they will do a landscaping drawing for their lands and the pond property that we can take to the residents. And the town pond, if you want to change that design or implement different things with that design, then you can do that. But they will provide a comprehensive drawing that links the two together. And they agreed to do that because of some of the negotiation around the cost of the land. So I think once we get the development in there and the drawing coming forward, there'll be an opportunity for everyone who lives there to have some say on what that park looks like. But until then, it will be covered in grass and maintained by the municipality.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bridge. I think it's an excellent report, Bill. And I had 5 or 6 questions, and honestly, I read the report likely 4 or 5 times, and I didn't see some of the answers in it. So I don't know whether it's a reading thing or what, but you talked about the road and the parking, and I think you've answered that very well. Stormwater pond, parking spots, the hammerhead, it's all going to be a park unless there's a truck that needs to be turned around on, and there's an acre of or more of land there for people to use as a park. Garbage, and I know that's still out there, but when a garbage truck pulls in there, and I know there's some things that are still up in the air, and I understand how the town has worked with the Quality Homes and before them the Metzgers, and I just wanted to say, Bill, I appreciate that report, and I would like to see this go and as quickly as possible because there's people wanting those condos, and so thanks for your hard work on this.
Yep. Ron?
It's unfortunate it's called a pond because it really isn't a pond. It's a gradual flow of water that'll go away. Water retention. Yeah, and it's when everybody hears a pond, they think it's something that gotta have water in it all the time. It's probably gonna have grass more than it's gonna have water. Just, I guess that's the wording thing that scares me out. Hopefully that gets out.
Yeah, and it's just the type of, and as you know, the cost. I think they're trying to keep the non-bungalow units just under 300,000, which we all know we've been trying to get some lower affordable housing out there. I think this and the other ones are a little bit more with the bungalows, but I think it's a great project. We've tried to be as understanding with the neighbors as possible, and we'll continue that communication. I like that, Bill, that when we get the plans for the park, if we want a few trees or whatever, that they'll have some input into that, and that Quality Homes is going to do some of that work for us. And you know, anytime there's a construction site, it's never pretty. And you know, we had some pretty bad weather, and we had some situations, and we have an engineering group that has told us, and we worked through all those things, that pond will hold all the water that was there. We've got other issues up in there that we have to deal with, and we'll talk about them. But the North Ward drain was never going to fix that. That we know what that problem is. So I think as we work through this and keep the communications going, I don't believe there was any letters this time from the neighbors. They were given the right to send another letter from this last report. Nothing came in, so hopefully we've answered most of those questions. And I give Quality Homes a lot of credit for trying to reach out as much as they could to the neighbors too. I think they want this project to be a real community project, and I credit this council for continuing to do this. When we bought this land many years ago at $60,000, look what we've got on it now, and it's going to continue to grow with the Lawrence Street development and the William Street development. And it's land in Harrison we certainly need that land to develop. And I think this is coming really full circle. And I believe if you guys vote for this right now, and I believe they want to get started as soon as possible, Bill.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bridge. Just to be clear, the notice that was given to neighbors wasn't given to neighbors. It was placed in the paper. Not related to the land transfers. We did not give notice on the site plan approval. That's not required by the Planning Act. So, however, when we did have the site plan approval before, we never gave notice, and they did write us a letter. So, but there has been no letters received related to this project going through this stage.
Well, I guess everybody knows they can go on our website and look at our what's on council tonight, and that's what I'm referring to, not necessarily notice.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bridge. CAO White, will you just take a second and go over the next 2 or 3 weeks to a month? The site plan agreement will be signed, and then if our CVO is happy, the building permits, the submission from the developer, and then the building permits will come. Like, what are we talking, 6 weeks?
No, the site plan agreement likely can be executed in a week or so. They've had it for a week now, and they've made no major changes to it. One change related to the description of the lands, and the rest, as far as I know at this point, is acceptable to them. So they'll sign that this week or next, and they tell me they're preparing their building permit application and their construction drawings, and so they need to submit a complete application for that. Triton Engineering is submitting, or has submitted, the Ministry of Environment approval for the stormwater works, which is required once that pond begins to accept water from the other development, this development. So that has been submitted now. So, once that's all in place, the chief building official can issue the building permit. Now, the MOE approval will not affect the building permits. It's not other applicable law. That binds us and binds the developer, because that's our pond. So, and it states in the site plan agreement that anything the MOE asks us to do regarding the pond related to this project, these owners will do. So if they have to adjust a grade or something like that, or change the storm sewer when they go in, then they can do that. But once the site plan agreement's signed, they may start servicing within a week or two. I don't know. Mr. Scher mentioned a mid-May date at the mayor's breakfast. So,
thank you.
Anything else? Well, the vote on, you read the motion. A vote, all in favor? Oh, nothing? Okay, good. And I guess Mary Lou's not here. She's cruising or something. Well, I'll take over. I don't have to pass this over to anybody. Go ahead, Gord.
You're in charge of finance today.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our approval of accounts. One of our smaller ones. I'll pick some highlights. Bought some pumps for the wastewater at about $4,000. Did our contribution to the butter tarts and buggies for $2,500. Lots of seems like heating and roof repairs at all three of the arenas for about $17,000. And unfortunately, we actually have some $5,200 ice storm cleanup bill too. So well below the threshold, which is fine. We don't want that again. But it's been quite a month for natural disasters, that's for sure. And I think they can safely take the plows off now. So hopefully we're done with that.
You'd be jinxing.
Yeah, we hope we're done unless we get that.
Any questions for Gord? Okay, the Council of Town of Minto receives the Treasury report dated April 30th, 2018 regarding approval of accounts and approves the town minutes accounts for departments for April 2018. Move in a second. Judy and Jean, all in favor? Carried. Go ahead, Gord.
Okay. All right. So then, as you know, we recently approved our budget, and in the capital budget, we had $2.1 million in new borrowing, $250 to complete George Street, and the remaining $1850 for the Clifford Connecting Link project, which one phase actually started last fall. So we are going through the county of Wellington. One partner has dropped out because one of their projects isn't quite ready, but there still should be some cost savings, and the county is anxious to get going on many of their projects. So this debenture was priced already in the last few days, so we actually have an interest rate combined for the 10-year and the 20-year portions is 3.316%, which is still pretty good. Rates are going to be trending higher, but I guess thankfully for us, there was no big move in the last few months. It's if we compare it to the North Wellington Healthcare we did a couple of years ago, that was 2.88%, 30 years. So it's up a bit, but still historically quite low. And so that debenture, we have a bylaw to consider at this meeting. County will do their bylaw, I believe, on the 24th, and it should close shortly after.
Huh? Remember, so our resolution back in April, that didn't automatically make that.
No, that resolution is our council requesting the county to proceed with all this work.
Just to proceed.
Yes, okay. Yeah, and then we actually have to do a formal bylaw to actually put it in.
Deputy Mayor Faulkner. Oh, hang on. We'll have to read it here. Let me read it. Council accepts the Treasurer's May 1st, 2018 debenture, Wellington County 218 report, and considers passage of the related bylaw in regular session. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Anderson. All in favor? And I think the rates are down a little bit, aren't they, Gordon?
Yeah, I mean,
that was pretty good, I think.
Quite comfortable, yeah.
Oh, keep going. You're doing good.
Yeah, and then we have the last meeting we had section 357, which is minor write-offs. These are primarily appeals. And I know I frequently say you will very rarely see an increase, but we actually have an increase on this batch. Very good. Grossly manifest error. So I was talking to Janet. This is a case where MPAC had done a supplemental on a particular property, and it was for a previous year, but then that supplemental was not carried forward again, so it was missed, so they found that, corrected it, and that's why we had an increase on that one. The rest are people that had appeals, the value's gone down, and there could be a site change, so relatively small dollars, but important to those people.
Gee?
Just had a question.
Sure.
Through you, Mayor Bridge. So the one that increased, it was MPAC. Oops, we blew it, and they found their error then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those for.
Okay.
This should have been, I think they call it deemed, like you have it on 1 year, carries to the next, and it didn't.
Just got dropped. Okay.
Ahead of me, but No, go ahead. MPAC, I kind of talked to them just last week.
Oh.
Now, I just want to be kind of clarify, things have changed since I know, but how do they come up with their assessments? What are they doing now different than what they were? Do they do a percentage of what the real value is?
Yeah, they have different, I guess, evaluation methodologies for different types of property. So residential farming is primarily on sales, comparable properties and that too. When you get into industrial and commercial, it's more specialized. They may look at the income potential. They may look at the quality of materials. Square foot is some of it too. So like if you've got a building like this or something, if it was private, so they would look at the type of finishes, the type of heating and all that too. And then they have a huge database, like several million properties, and they're evaluated that way. A rental enterprise like a multi-res or something is maybe more on the income approach. So they request information from tenants as to what the rents are, and then they kind of do a factor. So there's several different ways. There's always, it seems, refinements in that, and our mayor has brought forward many times about, gravel pits and things like that. They have, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe at AMO, they had a special projects initiative. So those would be unique properties, and they would study them. There's like the Tim Hortons, there was Canadian Tire or railway right-of-ways and things like that. So I find MPAC is much more centralized than it was. Like a lot of things are done at a provincial level rather than your
So it
office.
used to be that your house was $100,000 or $100,000 house.
Yeah.
They would assess it at $80,000.
Now, it hasn't been that way for quite a few years. The idea is it's 4-year cycle. So we're still on the January 1st of 2016, and that market value is what they call the destination.
And try to get as close as you can.
Yeah, and it's phased in over 4 years. If you have an increase, if there's a decrease, it's immediate.
Thank you.
Yeah. And just on that, Ron, I know with the residential, it's been a lot better, and they've got a site you can go on, you can check comparables. So if you think, I think mine's too high, and they've gone through their first, so we would have most of them probably happen last year. People would look at them and say, because it's 4 years. So in other words, they're trying to project what it's going to be worth in 4 years, like without going over the market value. But you'll find 9 times out of 10 with this market the way it's been, you're going to be under market value soon into that 4-year scheme. So I don't think from a residential standpoint we get as much pushback.
No.
But certainly from industrial, commercial, and because we just really don't know, as Gord tried to explain, and I'm sure he is probably as much knowledge as anybody in Emma as to maybe what they do, but they keep a pretty guarded secret. I can tell you, when you're talking industrial, commercial, and stuff, you really don't know how they're actually coming up with it. And we're fighting right now. We're fighting a lot of companies that are going out there and attacking impacts things for companies, and they get a percentage if they save you money, which is not good. So the County of Wellington has actually stood up to that and said, okay, enough's enough. I mean, in fairness, and we've gone out and we've negotiated with some of our bigger tax people and said, we're all in this together. We have to build the infrastructure. We have to keep things going. We have to have fire trucks and all the other things. So I think we're getting some of that. We're being more proactive at the county level, allowing Gord and us to try to go out to companies before. We call them pre-audits.
Yeah.
So we don't end up with the big bills and those big ones that we have to give back. So I think there's a lot more of that going on, and that's happening.
Yeah, and the county's allocated more resources to asset-based management, both in personnel.
And this is important for us because we get to kind of back off it, but they keep us in the loop through the Treasurers Organization. And I know Ken will call Gord up and say, Emma's found this one that looks bad, and we start working on it, right?
True.
So, anyways, did you have a question? Okay, but it's a work in progress.
Always, yes.
Impact.
Thanks, Gord.
Sure.
Helped.
Yeah. Okay, the council receives the May 18th, May 2018 report from the treasurers and tax collectors regarding minutes of settlement, assessment adjustments, and these adjustments be approved. All in favor? I thought we had one on that. Okay, we'll do it again. That Mayor Faulkner and Councilor Turton. Oh yeah, I was trying to do it before, but I must have got into discussion there. Okay, so now we're to other business. And who have I got on the sheet here? We got coming down. David, you're on, right?
Yes, thank you.
Start with you.
Just wanted to talk about Maitland Valley just for a second. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were up to the Maitland Valley Gala in Brussels, and it was sold out. And I'm not sure if they've got the number finalized yet, but they did make quite a bit of money. Second thing is May 29th. I'm pretty sure I have the right date. That's the meeting. Maitland Valley is putting on a night telling us about flood control and all to do with the river in Hairston. So 7 p.m. Please come out. 6:30. Pardon me. 6:30. Please come out with your questions.
Here?
Or no, it's at the Hairston Community Center.
Yep. On our site.
Mm-hmm.
By all means. Okay. Jean.
Just a reminder about the Horticulture Society's Garden Festival on June the 2nd from 8 till 2. Fireman's breakfast is there in the morning, and then the unveiling of the cones and free ice cream, so it ties in all nice. It should be a busy, busy day, and unfortunately, Mayor and I are going to miss it because we're going to.
And I think the deputy mayor.
And the deputy mayor? Yeah, we're not.
So hopefully somebody.
But do please support us.
Yes.
I'm planning to.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's too bad it's the same.
It's the same thing. We're doing the cones. If I could have somebody, would you be there for that, David?
Yep.
That would be good.
Because it promises
be
to
there
be
for
a good day. There's lots of vendors, some really interesting vendors.
A great day. It's always a great weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And firefighters have breakfast that morning, don't they?
Breakfast that morning down at the community center as well. Yep. So.
Judy?
I was just going to say on last Friday, we had the Minto Safe Kids event where the Wellington Farm Home Safety Association had a booth. I didn't fully understand what was going on there until I got there, but it's actually our fire department that puts that on.
Yep.
So I have never been at one of those events before, but it appeared to be very well run. There were a lot of kids, grade 4, 5, and 6, from a couple of different schools there, and there were a lot of booths that they could go to and learn about. Minto Ag had a tractor there, talking about some tractor safety, and then there was just it was really good mix of businesses and organizations from around the area. So they did a great job putting that together, and it was nice to be able to be there and see that was happening. So
it was wonderful.
And I'll see. I have another thing, but I think somebody else will say it, so I'll just wait.
All right. Well, if we don't hit
if they miss it,
Ron.
Okay, I don't normally do this, but we lost I think an icon for Minto, the town of Minto this week. He was an old neighbor, and he was a quiet leader in the community. And Eddie Hale, 98 years old, and just a gentleman, just a real gentleman. And so he was a lot of history, down of Minto gone. So anyways, keep the Hale family in your thoughts and prayers, please.
Did you have any, Ron? No, you already. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, well, I remembered all along, but I thought somebody might have said something about the tree days. Thanks again to Wellington County for the Green Legacy trees. We had 5,000 trees, plus I think the ones that are ordered ahead of time. Is that right?
Yes.
I think we have 5,000 plus the ones that were
more.
pre-ordered.
I think there's some bigger.
So, anyways, we did have some trees left, but we had a lot of trees that went out the door, and it was really interesting talking to the different people and how passionate people are about their trees and how they love coming to get them and getting those trees planted. So I think there's been a lot of trees planted in the last few days.
Actually, I'm sorry I couldn't make it because I was up actually getting a tree cut down. I don't know if I should put that out there, but it was an 80-foot triple trunk birch that we've had in front of the cottage for many, many years. Well, obviously for 80 years. The cottage has been there 45, and it was getting leaning and leaning. And so I had a arborist, and he climbed up. I can't believe how they did it and whatnot. They climbed up and he took it down. And I had gone up there Friday night. And on my way up, I'm thinking, because I kept hearing all my comments that we had 10 trees down in Harrison. And so I figured it might be gone when I got up there, just because when you're going to do something you've been putting off for years, because I thought the next time it was going to go right on my cottage, but it didn't, and we got it down. But we'll be planting more. There's lots of trees up there, but sometimes we lose some of the older ones, so it's nice to see that people are actually coming and getting more trees and planting them. And I have one other little thing that I wanted to. I just found out today and I think it's an amazing thing. It's something that this council and previous councils have been working on for many, many years, on rural transportation, and the fact that we have tried to come up with some kind of rural transportation over the years. As you may remember, we went with the county and we put a lot of our feedback into the county, and they went for an application to about a year ago to do a study, and we got the study done to put together for an actual implementation plan, and we were awarded $500,000, the county, to do a rural transportation implementation. So what this is, it's sort of like a Uber on steroids, I call it. It's a company that you'll be able to, and there'll be more details coming out because we just got the letter from the minister. And but it will allow people to book ahead, a week ahead or whatever, and it's shared ride program. So if I have a doctor's appointment, I'll just give you an example in Guelph, and I have to be there at 10 o'clock on next Friday morning or whatever, I book it, and then if anybody can share that ride with me, it's a computer system, and they'll try over the week to get somebody to share it, and that cost goes down. And this will be used as well with social services and all the things. So it's a great win. Finally, we got something, and this company's been around the world, and so it'll be something they'll register the drivers, they'll do all this stuff. So some will get some employment, and people that like to drive people will be able to employ themselves through this company. And we also had a secondary one in for a city to city type thing. We didn't get approved, but Owen Sound and Grey County got approved for $1.5 million. And they're going to start some kind of bus system from Owen Sound to Guelph. So it'll have to come through Wellington County somewhere. Yeah. And again, with our program, we'll be able to maybe match up and get things in. So I'm so excited because that's something we sorely miss in rural community is that access to transportation when you don't want to maybe drive to Toronto, or you don't want to drive to an appointment in London, as you know, for a doctor or whatever. This program will be in place at a reasonable cost. I don't know what that'll be yet because we'll have to work through it, but yeah, the $500,000 is a good start to get the program up and running, and we'll go from there. So kudos to the county for leading the charge, but for all the municipalities that put a lot of time and effort in giving support to that project. And that's what I have. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Mayor Rich, I have to apologize for council because we've had 2 ice storms and 2 floods, and also 2 tornadoes. And then on Friday we had our first windstorm, so I hope there really isn't another one coming anytime soon. But I wanted to thank our outside workers, Public Works, for their response. They're still responding out there, so if people could have patience, we're trying to get to all the trees. They may have already got to them by now, but with a lot of trees down, quite a bit of damage to power lines in West Ontario, and Hydro One were quick to respond. And also to Minto Fire, who had a number of calls very quickly during that event, and then shortly after that, later on at the fire in Harrison. So I just wanted to thank those people for their response, and the staff too. The phone started ringing like crazy, and we were all on deck trying to get people to the trees and to safe spaces. So the other thing I think is that our economic development manager would like to show a video.
Yes. We forgot the video.
Economic Development Week. So I don't know if you want me to try and put it up here or you're going to do it? Okay.
David, while she's getting that set up, did you?
Yes, just one more quick item. I understand that the food banks in Ontario are extremely low because of all the issues that have been going on. And there is a blood donor clinic on Thursday night in Palmerston between 5 and 8 at the community center. So please roll up your sleeve.
Okay. And this you're gonna set it up.
So yes, it's Economic Development Week across North America. And IEDC, which is our international association, and EDCO and a bunch of the other associations across Canada partnered together to create this video about why economic development matters. And I think it's a good 3-minute video just to show and celebrate Economic Development Week and to thank our previous councils and this council for being so progressive in terms of economic development. The mayor and I have spoke in numerous rural communities lately that are hiring economic development staff, and we've had one for now 13 years. So thank you to you guys, and this is just a little snapshot of that video, so I'll click it over.
Like it.
Are we counting? Are we counting backwards from 3,004?
From new businesses to old industries, small towns to big cities.
Restart.
To Windsor.
That's the Maitland River?
That's what we're hoping it'll develop
Downtown
into
Harrison.
after the Maitland gives us our flood control.
If you've ever noticed a new business opening in the neighborhood and felt a little proud of your community, that's economic development.
That's economic development.
If you've ever thought about retraining or upgrading your skills at a local college,
That's economic development.
If you've ever had to look for a new job and felt confident that you won't need to move, that's economic development.
If you've ever watched your kids play in the park, reassured that they are going to be just fine when they grow up,
That's economic development.
if you've ever identified a gap in your community,
and have resources to help, that's economic development.
I'll let you know. Economic development. Hard enough to great community. Because a strong economy doesn't just mean more jobs. It means more opportunities, more choices, more resilience for everyone. Developing our economy really means developing our community. And dynamic, thriving communities don't happen by chance. It takes the effort of skilled experts on the front line working hard every day to make our community a little better. That's what we do. We are your economic development professionals. From local to provincial to national, our common objective is a stronger, more resilient, more inclusive economy. From new businesses to old industries, small towns to big cities, we understand what it takes to build a vibrant community, helping it grow stronger, where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. How do we do it? Easy.
with education and expertise, we collaborate to attract new businesses and work hard to champion for the ones we have, maybe even help them grow.
We can help navigate funding options, financing programs, and investment opportunities, and connect you with the right government resources. We know technology. We understand where development. We are experts in partnerships, mentorships, and apprenticeships.
We can work with councils to develop better strategies. We can work with schools to develop new training opportunities. We can work with community leaders to identify current gaps. And we love research. We can provide information on everything from local trends to international export regulations, implementing new technologies, to industrial cluster development. Yes, you know what that is. We do 1,000 different things, customized to the unique needs of our community, based on mountains of research and training and best practices. Because developing our economy is a science, and it is an art.
And to do it right requires a unique set of skills and experience to navigate the subtle layers and nuances of developing a stronger economy, a stronger community. We are the experts teams, working behind the scenes every single day, doing the heavy lifting, planting the seeds, connecting the dots on behalf of our community. Town,
City, province,
region, country, from urban centers to the middle of the prairies,
way up north and out to the coast. This is how successful communities invest in the future.
in sustainability, in opportunity, in resiliency, in ourselves.
Which means creating a better place to live with purpose. A dynamic, thriving community for all of us. We are here for you, so we can build a stronger community together. Let's get to work. Let's get to work.
let's get to work.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Caldwell isn't here. Maybe Deputy Mayor would do that. He did.
He did.
Oh, there you did. So there we go.
I was
Second
told
by
not to
yeah.
bother the
Oh,
pencil.
all right. Second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. Committee of the Whole convenes into regular council meeting. All in favor? Throwing things in throw me out of the box. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Turton. The Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motion made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott, the bylaw number 2018-27 to authorize an application by the Corporation of Town of Minto representing the Corporation of the County of Wellington to incur debt and issue debentures in respect to the capital works be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed over the council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner and seconded by Councillor Dixon that the bylaw number 2018-28 to authorize the mayor and CEO clerk to execute site servicing agreement between the Corporation of Town of Minto and Galaxy Construction Group Limited be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed open council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Anderson, bylaw number 2018-29 to authorize the execution of the site plan agreement with Shrimp Canada 2541460 Ontario Inc. at 340 Minto Road, Palmerston, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed open council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, the bylaw number 2018-30, a bylaw to set tax rates for the 2018 and provide for the collection thereof, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed open council, seal of the corporation. All in favor?
Can I ask one question after I know we voted everything? What's the difference between private shinny and public shinny? It's the fee section. I've never seen that term before.
Oh, it's too late.
I know.
Ask Matt on the way out.
Ask Matt on the way out. Yeah. Are you going to be able to sleep tonight if you don't know?
I don't think I'll be able to sleep tonight.
I have no idea. Moved by Councillor Turkson, second by Councillor Anderson. Bylaw number 2018-31 to amend the fees and charges by bylaw number 2018-10, Schedule D of recreation charges and fees, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed over the council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor?
There's a shinny pass too, you know that.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Turton, the bylaw number 2018-32 to authorize the mayor and CEO to execute a site plan agreement between the Corporation of Town of Minto and Quality Homes Development Inc. Be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed over the council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott, the bylaw number 2018-33 to confirm the actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held May 8, 2018, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed on the council, seal of the corporation. All in favor?
Opposed?
Opposed. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Council of Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thanks for a good meeting, everybody.